Hello students, in this lesson let us learn about prototype development of salwar. The salwar is a baggy trouser worn popularly with kameez. The leg panels are wide at the top, at the waist and taper into a narrow shape at the ankle. The traditional salwar is fastened at the waist with a drawstring, pleated at the center and has a stiff band to finish to the bottom hem. The stiff band provides ease and firmness to the bottom hem and is called poncha. The poncha length and the hem circumference can be varied according to the requirement. The ease, style, fabric varies according to age, figure, occasion and fashion trends. Traditionally named as dogri pants or sutan, in Jammu is popularly worn in parts of Jammu, Himachal Pradesh and Punjab. The hem circumference is less and opens up to the knee and fastened with multiple folds at the waist. After the silhouette has been approved, the next step is to create a prototype or the first sample. The prototype is the first critical opportunity for the product development in order to ascertain the actual garment style and try it on a live mannequin that has body measurements equal to those of the client. The learning objective for this session are, and at the end of this lesson, you will be able to select appropriate fabric to suit the various styles of salwar, take accurate body measurements, calculate the consumption for the basic style of the salwar, prepare a draft and develop the patterns, cutting the patterns, stitching and finishing skills specific to salwar. The modern day salwar is derived from the original Arabic shalwar. They gained popularity during the Mughals period in India. They are typically worn in Muslim countries and exclusively in the Balkans that were influenced by the Ottoman Turks prior to World War II. The earliest forms of salwar were worn in Persia. The salwar is a full-length lower garment extending till the ankle. The selection of fabric is governed by variation in the styles of the salwar. The broad waistband provides elegant look and comfort. When it comes to choosing the right fabric and styles for the salwar, it is important to consider the composition of the fabric depending on the frequency of use, wash and care, the styling, fit and ease can be decided based on the figure type. Many different styles of salwar are available in a wide range of fabrics. It is important to consider by the individual their preference on choosing natural or synthetic fibers. Pure cotton is a natural fiber and most popular choice for salwar. It provides immense comfort and is breathable. It is durable and has good dimensional stability. It is easily washable by hand as well as machine. Good quality dyed cotton retains the color and does not bleed or fade. Plain woven cotton fabrics are ideally suited for salwar. Pre-shrunk and mercerized cotton fabrics are good choice since they add value to the product both in terms of aesthetic appeal and performance. Fabrics made from linen fibers provide cool skin sensation and light in weight. It provides immense comfort and a crisp look. Silk and silk blends look extremely graceful but require appropriate maintenance. These are best suited as evening or festive wear along with silk kameez. A small percentage of synthetic fibers like polyester can impart the fabric wrinkle resistance properties. The type of fabric chosen will depend on the comfort and the functional performance. Fabrics with higher percentage of synthetic fibers are not healthy to wear in humid environment since it will increase perspiration and body odor. The choice of color, print and embellishments is decided based on the compatibility with the kameez and the dupatta for the occasion. Pattern paper, marking chalk, scissors, carbon and tracing wheel, iron, sewing machine, canvas fabric or fusing material, and sewing needle. The important feature of any sewing machine is the needle. The needle systems are introduced since newer fabrics evolve, new sewing machines develop which work at high speeds. The basic functions of a needle is to create a passage in the material for the thread to pass through, to carry the needle through the material and form a loop, to pass the needle thread through the loop forward by the looper mechanism on the machines other than lock stitch. A needle has various parts to execute different functions during the sewing operations. But the shaped top end which facilitates insertion into the needle bar or the clamp. Shank, the thicker part of the needle held by the needle clamp or the needle set screw. It supports the needle as a whole by providing additional strength. The shoulder, the intermediate section between the shank and the blade. The blade, the needle portion extends from the shank to the eye. This is subjected to the greatest amount of friction and hence heat when it passes through the material. The long groove, it is present in one side of the needle blade for the convenience of the needle thread from the take-up device and provides a protective channel in which the thread is drawn through the materials during the stitch formation. Short groove, it is formed on the other side of a long groove towards the shuttle hook or looper and it assists in throwing the loop of the needle thread. The eye of the needle is present in the bottom end of the blade. Needle thread allowed through this eye is taken in the bottom area. The scarf, it is a clearance cut in the needle blade just above the eye to permit a closer setting of the shuttle, hook or looper to the needle. The point of the needle is shaped to provide the most suitable penetration of the material being sewn according to its nature and the desired stitch effect. The tip, the extreme tip shape in combination with the point defines penetration of the material being sewn according to its nature and the desired stitch effect. The diverse components that go into a spool of thread are fiber characteristics, structure, final finish which establishes how well it behaves with the machine and the sewing process. The sewing thread should be smooth, nub-free strand that does not twist easily and free of fuzz. To judge a thread, unroll a length of thread and hold it towards the light and look closely with fingertips free of nubs and check for smoothness. For general construction, the same thread is used in bobbin and the top thread because it is practical and simplifies balancing the tension. Bonded threads, Polyester or nylon threads are coated to keep it from shredding and reduce abrasion. Gassed. Cotton threads are quickly passed through a flame to reduce fuzz. Glazed. Cotton threads for hand sewing are treated with starches, waxes or chemicals and polished to a luster for smooth glossy surface to reduce knots and tangling. Soft usually refers to cotton thread without finishing processes. Serger threads. For all-purpose thread that has a special finish to withstand high-speed sewing and comes in cones or tubes. The monofilament threads. A single strand of nylon or polyester filament. Polyester withstands higher heat than nylon. Almost invisible, it becomes clear, grey or matte. Textured thread. Fills in stitches or rolled hems and overlock stitches and makes soft, stretchy seams. Denier. This indicates the coarseness or fineness of silk and man-made threads like polyester, rayon, nylon. Denier is a weight in grams of 9,000 meters of specific thread. The higher the number, the heavier and thicker the thread. Tex. Used for industrial threads, only the system is expected to become universal. Tex is the weight in grams of 1,000 meters of specific thread. The higher the value, the heavier and thicker the thread. Appropriate selection of motif is essential since it has to be matched with the kameez or any suitable upper garment to form an ensemble. Solid colors are very popular and practical since it can be easily matched with any color of the kameez fabric selected. Poplin is the best suited material since it is easy to handle and stitch. From user point of view, it has good comfort features, drapeability. Mercerized cotton and polyester cotton blended fabrics are popularly used. Fabrics with specific crease recovery finishes and easy care fabrics are preferred for salwar. Pattern making is an art of manipulating and shaping a flat piece of fabric to conform to one or more curves of the human figure depending on the silhouette of the garment. Pattern making is the intermediate process between garment design and garment construction. A pattern for a particular style of a garment is developed using the body measurement and a set of instructions to develop the basic block. The accurate body measurement, patterns and adaptation forms the foundation for the success of the garment. The basic salwar pattern can be adapted and transformed into various workable designs based on silhouettes, dart and pleats and panels. The following measurements are essential for drafting the salwar. Waist circumference taken around the deepest level of the waist. Hip circumference taking around the fullest level of the hip. The length of the salwar, waist level to full length. The waistband length, waist level to hip level. Poncha length, that is 1.5 to 2.5 inches depending on the style of the salwar. Now please make one note here, additional seam allowance may be included depending on the type of seam and the seam finish that is used. The total fabric required for salwar is 2 times full length plus waistband length. For 36 inches wide fabric, it's 2 times full length plus waistband length. Now, if you are taking a 40 inches wide fabric, then it would be full length plus waistband length. If the fabric is more than 40 inches wide, then one full length should be sufficient. Now, please make one note here that in the case of fabrics that are prone to shrinkage, then a 2% additional fabric will be required and half an inch additional to the total length may be considered. First, locate the top left-hand corner of the paper pattern. Draw a vertical line A to B, which is equal to full length minus waistband length plus 2 inches allowance. B to C is 2 inches for bottom folding. Now, that depends on the poncha length. The horizontal line A to D is equal to the width of the fabric. D to E is 1/6 of hip circumference. B to F, half bottom circumference plus half an inch. A to B is 2 inches for the top folding and casing. B to C, waistband length or 1/6 of hip circumference. A to D and C to F is 1/3 of hip circumference. Leg panels, cut 2, waistband, cut 1 and drawstring, cut 1. Now, fold the fabric lengthwise to become double layer with wrong side facing each other. Place the paper pattern on top of it and pin it. Cut fabric out according to the front and back pattern. Trace sewing lines and markings on the fabric by using carbon and tracing wheel. The first one being the fabric type. The weave construction, that is tightly or loosely woven fabric. The yarn raveling, curling or rolling possibilities after cutting the pattern. The weight of the fabric, is it lightweight, medium weight or heavy weight? The next one being frequency of use and washing. Now, how often the garment will be worn, whether it will be hand washed, machine washed or dry cleaned. The location and line of the seam, straight or curved, exposed or enclosed as in the case of the lined garments, the sewing skill and the availability of serger and overlock machines. Now, let us look at some of the very important seam types that are used in salwar stitching. The first and the most common being plain seam. The basic and simplest seam is the plain seam. It is the best choice and frequently used in all types of garments. They can be used on for curved or straight seams, both for woven as well as knit fabrics. Place the right side of the fabric together, matching the stitching lines. Stitch along the line from end to end. Press the seam and keep it open or flat depending on the location and the stitching lines. The second type of seam is the French seam. To construct this, seam the fabric in place with matching the stitching lines and the wrong sides of the fabric facing each other. The stitch is put 3/8 of an inch from the cutting edge and the seam is trimmed by 1/8 or 1/4 inch. Keeping the right sides together, fold the fabric over the seam to cover the edges. Stitch on the seam line after leaving 1/4 inch from the folded edge to enclose the raw edges. This can be used when sheer fabrics are used in the case of salwar on straight and curved edge for inside leg seams and the seam joining the waistband and the leg panels. Flat fell seam. The garments made using this seam is used for woven fabrics and with straight edges. To use this seam on the inside leg seams and the seam joining the waistband and the leg panels, place the wrong sides of the fabric together, stitch along the seam line to make a plain seam, press the seam allowance to one side, trim the lower seam allowance on the inside seam allowance to 1/8 inch, turn the top by seam allowance edge under by 1/4 inch, press and stitch the folded edge under the fabric to enclose the raw edges. Serged. A serger or an overlock machine is used to construct serged seam. A 4-thread seam is used when constructing garments made from woven fabrics. Place the right sides of the fabric together matching the stitching lines. Guide the fabric under the presser foot in such a way that the needle stitches on the seam lines and then press the seam to one side. First, join the crotch seam with leg panels placed with fabric right side facing each other. Finish the bottom by enclosing the canvas between the double folding of the folding allowance. Attach the waistband to the leg panels by incorporating pleats at the center front. Join the crotch leaving 4 inches gap from the waistline. Finish the waistline edges by folding the casing allowance. Finish the casing by double folding. Insert a drawstring to form gathers at the waist. Now cut all the excess threads inside and outside. And then finally, evaluate for fit and finishing. At the end of this session, let me recapitulate on the pattern making and the prototype development for Salwar. Salwar is a lower garment resembling the trouser with or without the waistband. Cotton and linen are ideal for conventional styles of salwar. Structured, lightweight brocades, synthetic blended fabrics can also be used based on the end use. The consumption of the fabric depends on the width of the fabric, style features and detailing. In today's session, we have also understood the multiple steps involved in the drafting of salwar. And finally, we have learned the technique of pattern development and sewing skills essential for the prototype development of salwar. Salwar is now an all-time favorite irrespective of age or figure types. It suits all occasions and accepted both as a formal and casual wear in India. With this lesson, now you will be able to independently develop salwar patterns and construct the garment.